Okay, I'm just about to let y'all know right now I am going to mangle some names, so please don't get upset. I don't mean no harm. Hey fam, what's up? This is Robert Anton here, robertantonnyc, coming to you with your no frills, the voice commentary from a singer. Yes, sir, it's night 2 of the blind audition, season 7 of The Voice. And let me tell you, tonight, so many great voices. You know I love that. So many great voices. Tell me who was your favorite down in the comments. I gotta get with it right now. Tell me right now. Pause the video if you have to, and then I'm gonna go into the commentary. Alright, here we go. We started out the night with comments about the coach's excitement and replays of what happened last night and a recap of who already made it onto teams. Alright, first up we had Danica Shirey. She was 25. She did Big White Room by Jessie J. And she had a serious, abrupt opening with a nice riff, and Adam chimed right in, and she really had a nice stage presence, and her voice was light and thin, but it really seemed to fill the room. Gwen and Pharrell chimed in next, and her ending was seriously sweet. She was doing all kinds of nice little thrills and trills and riffs and things. Not too much, just a nice seasoning, you know what I'm saying? All except Blake stood for her. He also didn't turn for her. Adam told her she has one of the best voices he's heard in a long time. Gwen said her vibrato gave her chills. Pharrell compared her to a snake charmer because of her incredible technique. And Danica chose Pharrell because she said she's a huge fan of his. Kirk was up next. He was 17. He did Lego House by Ed Sheeran. And he started out and had a really sweet, nice tone. Adam and Gwen chimed in right away. Then Blake and Pharrell chimed in when he started doing the faster little passages in the song. This was really sweet and sensitive and just way too short. I was just getting into it and then it just ended. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh no, keep singing, keep singing. Leave him wanting more, baby, and he definitely did. Adam said he liked his whole vibe and noticed his confidence. Gwen loved the tone of his voice and rhythm. Pharrell said technically he's a beast. And Joe chose Adam because he told him he's like his little brother. Next up we had Menlik Zergabachew. He was 19. He did Santeria by Sublime. And I liked his song choice, and he came out strong on the vocal. The coaches were taking their time listening, and Blake turned around about the chorus while Adam was busy singing along. He said he's been gigging in a band, but I didn't see a lot of stage presence. He kind of just stood there and he was kind of singing, just kind of like, almost like he was in pain at points trying to get the notes. He was like, you know, and I was like, I just don't know what to think of him. Gwen chimed in at the end. So Gwen said she liked him and his style and called him cute. She also dropped that she toured with Sublime. And Blake said it was the most technically perfect performance all day. And Menlik chose Gwen, which I thought was a good choice. Make sure that you thumb this up if you're enjoying the commentary. I am enjoying the show already, and if you are enjoying the show and the commentary, make sure to let me know by thumbing it up. It also lets other people know that we're watching the show, and spread it around. Put it on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, and say, hey, this guy is pretty cool, he's funny, he's informative. Come and watch him, come join us, discuss the show. The Voice. Jimi Milligan was up next. 35, he did Get Ready by The Temptations, and he went way old school on him. And it's such a high song that I was hoping that it was all in his voice, right? But he had a few cracks going on during his performance, like he was really reaching for those notes and they just didn't come out. There was a nice smoothness to his voice at points, but he wailed away at the end and no coaches turned for him. Blake said it wasn't solid enough for him. Pharrell said he wanted him to take more chances and nail them. Adam told him to do the song and be comfortable with it, but do some things to get their notice, and told the camera later that he didn't really push it over the edge like he should have. I thought that maybe he should have brought the key down a little bit if he was going to do it. Gave him more range at the top, because a lot of times if I can just hit those notes at the top, you know, when I'm singing with my bands and stuff, I try to bring it down a half step or so, or maybe even a step, so that then I can play over top of it and do my little extra riffs and stuff going up instead of trying to do them going down. And I think that would have helped him a lot. Next up we had Reagan James. She was 15. She did Give Me Love by Ed Sheeran. Came out of my, it just came out of me when she started singing. I was just like watching, I was like It just sounded so good to my ears. Blake and Gwen chimed in first. She was so poised and working the stage, relating the story. Just a very well-rounded, solid, all-around performer. And at such a young age, just 15, she was just great beyond her years. Gwen jumped out of her chair to woo her, right? She went up, she had to go say things, and Blake told her not to go past a certain ladders. The interactions on the show are really, really still very funny. And Blake talked about some of her voice qualities and called her very special. Pharrell called called her a threat to the game, and Reagan chose Blake for her coach, which was really a huge surprise to me, but it was a good move, I believe, on her part, because he's so good with the young girls and really getting them to relate. And she really has that country storyteller kind of thing. At least in this performance, she had that very much going on. Phelan was next. He was 25. He did Sweater Weather by The Neighbourhood, and he came out with his guitar but didn't really like play it in the beginning of the song, and I was like, is he gonna play the guitar or not, right? Adam chimed in first, followed by Blake and Gwen, and some really clear, distinct voices on the show tonight. And I loved when he got into the gist of the song and brought that little really nice rock vibe, gave that hard backing, started playing the guitar, and he really seemed to be feeling the lyrics throughout his body. You saw it in his eyes. It was very nice. All four coaches stood for him, and I was so into his performance, I didn't even notice when Pharrell chimed in. I guess it was somewhere later, but I don't even know where, right? Adam noticed that he was totally lost in what he was doing and his happy feet. Gwen said it felt natural and like she could be watching a band. Pharrell called him melodically articulate, and Blake compared him to Ryan Tedder. And Taylor chose Pharrell because he said the most things that resonated about his performance. But it was like a cliffhanger before he chose the coach, and I went on Twitter and I saw under Pharrell's Twitter that he had already welcomed him to the show, and I was like, I wish I would have retweeted it, because that was just such a faux pas. He was just like, oh my god, no, he didn't give it away before the guy actually said it on the show. Whatever, you know, these things happen. Kate and Lucia was next. She was 18. She did You're the One That I Want from the Grease the movie, and she played it on the guitar with a nice indie arrangement. It was interesting and sounded like the type of thing that Blake would love. She's cute and kind of quirky and seemed to be having fun while having a certain like plaintive quality. She's just really just getting into it. But no coaches turned for her. I was like, oh my god, Blake didn't turn. Gwen thought her voice was very pretty. Pharrell called her tone beautiful but didn't think she did enough. Adam said she needed to dominate the song with her own individuality. He said other influences were pulling at her. He felt like they were, and she really needed to bring her own thing to it. What did you guys think about that? I was kind of on the fence, but I really thought Blake did say he was the closest to pushing his button, but you know, whatever. Sugar Joans was up next. She was 24. She did Chain of Fools by Aretha Franklin, and she came out with a big wail and opened my eyes, baby. I was like, all right, girl, you better go ahead and do it. I liked how she had a lot of rough and tumble in the song, but also she had a really sweet quality going on right alongside with that, and it wasn't battling. It was like she would be a little rough and then she would bring the sweetness, and it was a nice balance, and I really enjoyed that. She also had a nice inviting quality in her stage presence. You know, she had a little sass, but she was also pulling the audience in, and I felt like she was pulling me into what she was doing. Blake was trying to get Pharrell to turn, but him and Gwen turned at the very last minute. Gwen said her voice is like a perfect voice. Blake said she had one of his favorite voices he's ever heard. How many times is he going to say that? You know, Adam's got his thing, you can win, and Blake was like, oh, you got the favorite voice I've ever heard, oh my god. So I just can't believe these people sometimes, right? Sugar chose Gwen because her comments spoke to her. Taylor Brashears was up next. She was 21. She did You Ain't Woman Enough to Take My Man by Loretta, Lynn. And it was so funny that all the coaches looked at Blake when the twangy music started. Before she started singing, they were all like, like, push your button, right? And she had a nice voice and a serious attitude. She had the thing going on. I think she just chose the perfect song for her personality. Very comfortable on stage and really relating the lyrics, and I wrote, again, a lot of sass. Adam and Pharrell chimed in first, and Blake chimed in at the very last note. Pharrell called her tone amazing and mentioned her swagger and confidence, and Blake gave a really good heartfelt pitch that I was just like, he explained very well why he chimed in late, really late on the song. I thought it was just great, and I felt like she should have gone to him. And Taylor chose Blake naturally because he has that country background. Andy Cherry was up next. He was 28. He did Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Tears for Fears, and the coaches and audience all went crazy when they heard the beginning music of the song. You know, his song choice was really good. Then the coaches settled in to listen to what he had to offer, and he had a good sound with a lot of rough and aggressiveness, but no chairs turned for him, and I was like, oh my god, really? Really? Blake said there was a lack of control and it was too dramatic for him. The coaches seemed to be thrown by him doing a little too much outside of the melody of the song. And you know, this is the thing. They always say make it your own, make it your own, but then you have to stick kind of to the melody of the original song, especially when it's very important to the song. So what to do, how much to change, and all that different stuff. And I think I do a really good Think So You Want to Be a Singer video about that, and it's called Making Any Song Your Own, or 4 4 ways to make any song your own. And I think if you're a singer, you should go and check that out, because a lot of times you don't have to change the melody at all. On a show like this and with someone like him, it would have been safer for him to do just what, because he had the voice and he was doing his thing. It's just that he was trying to do too much, and the judges were just, I guess they were a little thrown and taken aback by it. Yeah, last but not least of the night, we had Maiya Sykes. She is 36. She did "Stay With Me" by Sam Smith, and she sang 2 lines, and all 4 coaches chimed in for her like bang, 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 bang. She's definitely the total package with a voice, stage presence, some nice little ticks of her own, things that she did that were very entertaining, you know, that seemed very personal to her. When she cut loose with the big notes, I thought it could have been a little more full and rounded. It came out to me a little tinny and a little just a little straining, but she was damn near perfect. I was just crazy about her voice and the way she performed the song. Blake told her she could win the show. Pharrell said she had a story to tell and mentioned some of the people she reminded him of. Gwen called her voice ridiculous and tried to appeal to her feminine side, talking about clothes. I can get you bags and shoes and all that good stuff. But Maiya chose Pharrell because he stood up for her. Every time he spoke, he stood up for her. And that was it. What did you think? Who are your favorite people? I have barreled through this commentary to get to the end to let you guys have your voice. Let me know down in the comments what's going on. Next week, the show again will be at 8 o'clock on Monday and Tuesday, and I will see you guys there. This is Robert Anton, robertantonnyc.com. I'm out. Peace.